Hello and welcome back, or welcome to Season 2 of Hardcore Minecraft with me, Doom Mountain. And I am standing over here on our lovely new bridge leading into our new build from last episode, the Fish Market. And I mean, doesn't that just look grand? I can't even really get it all in one shot, you know. We go up to the crane section up there, and as you can see, those chains are kind of loading in. I don't know, it's just like vines and other floral sort of stuff. As soon as you get too far out of the render distance, it just sort of, you know, cuts it from existence. But, speaking about this build and last episode, I would just love to say a huge big thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched that. I received so much positive feedback, and it was just, yeah, it was really happy seeing, you know, and it made it feel really worth all the time and effort that I put in to build this up. So yeah, I'd just like to say a big thank you. Now, in between that episode and where we stand here, I have prepared up all my tools, and I have also gone along and actually put in a bit more of a terrain fix up along this section here, because I didn't get to that last time and it was all sort of broken up and that sort of thing. I put a photo up on Instagram of the before and after for this section, you know, if you want to go and check it out to see those little minor details. But yeah, I think it really sort of helps draw it all together. We've also started our lecterns wrapping around the edge there because, well, that section over there is the last part of our starter island that we need to actually get built up. I mean, we've got to actually finish the interior work here, but, you know, in terms of what needs to be built in the world, we're starting to come up to finishing off our area. And speaking of actually, you know, getting the interior work done here, and also including those extra 2 docks where we can have our ships pull up and really sort of help paint this landscape a little bit more and give a bit more just detail and interest on the horizon as we're on shore looking out. I want to say that I think that I might be I might attack this by doing it on a live stream. So maybe not just one, but over a few. So while we're working on this episode, if things start to change up around here, just know that I'm streaming over on Twitch and doing some work there, and all the live streams always get archived over on our second channel, Doom Mountain's Vault, which I am pretty sure is always linked in the description. So we're not going to really touch on too much right now about getting this section built up or the interior work done, because I'm going to do that on a live stream. So why don't we head over to this section here. So as you can see behind me, we have really nicely built up an area that sort of tells a bit of a story and, you know, has its own pathings. Everything's sort of mapped out and it all looks very neat and cozy. And then we have this last little patch, the actual pathway that leads up to our starter house from our little bit of a dock section, which needs to be just decorative, is that a word? Decorated a little bit more, because, well, this is going to be kind of like a little private sort of docking spot, maybe a bit of a garden, and we want to stretch out and have something over here before connecting up, I guess, to our iron farm and finishing off this part so it actually looks nice and, you know, neat like the rest of our area here, because I'm really happy with how it's all coming up. And, you know, having the cherry blossoms was a really interesting, different approach, and I didn't expect that. I mean, when we started, they weren't even in the game. But now having more spread out and really making this island seem a bit like, you know, a cherry grove sort of area. It's looking very cool. So we want to now adapt this into that final area. And if we stand over here with Bluey, you can really see that the view dies so quickly. It just goes to that harsh savanna view. Bluey's been sitting here in his lovely park just sort of admiring all of this, but there's always been that little bit of just doubt. So we want our path now to continue on. We've got it leading up down there, which I think we might even put in a bridge to lead off the island into, you know, more mainland sections. I also think that one thing that we don't have in this world, and after collecting up so much copper to make all of those half slabs, is like a super smelter. You know, a furnace array that we can actually use to cook up all of our stuff a lot quicker. And so I think maybe we can build up something just along here to help close off this section, and then we can just tidy up around here. I think we need to make this into a proper pond. And we need to sort out our cats, you know, all of these guys, which I found out we are missing one, and if you're watching my Naked and Scared Season 2, we are missing a Mr. Splotchy, so I'm going to have to go and collect up one of them. So it would also be really cool to be able to have that path come and extend out, and possibly even have a bridge to be able to meet up with our iron farm, because I did want it a little bit further away from us because, well, we do have our village over there, so I didn't want these two to connect up, so it always had to stay a little bit isolated. But just because it had to stay isolated doesn't mean that we can't, connect it up and bring it back into this area. Like you can see over there, we've got the bridge leading up to our fish market, which that does look so cool on the horizon. Just imagine when we get the extra little dock out there. It's going to look beautiful. So why not include something like that into our iron farm, and then we can further branch out over into this field. So in order to start that, I think what we're going to need to do is, well, I'm going to have to mark out where do I want these paths. I want to continue out my path and work into place of where we're going to go to meet up with that, where we're going to put up another building for a super smelter, and then I think we should continue on with this pathway that stretches on down here. And as you can see, where that jungle tree is, it's where I've been growing my trees to collect up all the wood source, we can really just connect a bridge that sort of hops between that island and into that one, and then we're heading back into the mainland of that savannah, which then goes into, like, I think just an oak forest or something like that. And yeah, it really helps us start stretching out. So there's been a lot of speaking here, but that's because I kind of want to jump into a time lapse and get some of these roads mapped out. So yeah, I think it's time that we bring back our cameraman. Hopefully he's not too upset that we haven't worked with him for a little bit, and get him back on the scene. So let's jump over and do that now. And we're back from that. A little bit of a shorter time lapse than usual because, well, it turns out our cameraman is a little bit upset with us for not actually using him for the last few episodes, so I think we're going to have to work out a deal with him so that he'll actually jump on and record us a longer time lapse. However though, as you can see, we have our blueprinted pathway all the way in. So as you can see, this is our path leading up to where we're going to have our first building, which, as I believe I mentioned in the clip before, I wanted to have a super furnace down here so we could smelt up a whole heap of goodies all at once. Then if we spin around, you can see that I have a path that sort of makeshift into a bit of the path blocking area around our pond, because, well, I do want to actually include a little bit of a park and nature area just around here. And I thought, it could probably be closed off with a bit of the bushes or some of the lectern, so it really is a private section here just to relax and unwind by the pond. Now, you may also be noticing these stairs, which I'm going to use to build up to a bridge that'll connect us over to a small little transit sort of island build thing. Then we can bridge over again to our iron farm. That way we've got a little bit more interest and a bit more sort of development showing that this actual island is growing out and sort of it's expanding more than it can grow, sort of thing. So we're reaching out a bit more into the land, into the ocean, to really make use of the build. And now on this final path that wraps us around, marked by this turtle here. Hey mate, how's it going? What? Oh, you've got things to do? Well, I was recording and you've just cut in. We good? Okay, I'm just gonna... How did I get in a stare off with a turtle? Yeah, alright, you go that way, I'll go this way. Jeez. Anyway, this path that wraps around and takes us over to our Too Tall Flower Farm and our moss farm. And all of our cats, yes, okay, I can't fit all the cats. Wraps over to this big space here where we're going to have a larger sort of build. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this one in the clip before, but I wanted... Okay, you can see that there's a lot of mud bricks here, and it takes a lot of effort to actually get all of those mud blocks made up. I'm sorry, cats, you're a little bit loud, so I'm just going to walk over here next to the scary turtle. Hey. But as I was saying, it takes a bit of time to actually go out and, make all the mud blocks, because there's not a swamp or a muddy swamp anywhere near us, so it's not like I can go and collect it up easy. I've actually got to create the blocks using the old method of getting some dirt and splashing it with some water, and yeah, it's a boring process. So I've designed a build that is going to help us, complete more of these, but it's also going to function as a concrete farm. So, we get the two little goodies out of that, and instead of me just explaining this, let me jump over to the creative world that we've got going, and I can actually show you my ideas. Alright, so now that we're here in our creative test world, let's talk about, first off, the super smelter that I want to get built. And as you can see, this is it right here behind me. It's a very simple process. You've got your furnace, which you put a hopper underneath it, it's going to collect whatever gets smelted. You put a hopper on top of it, it's going to put items inside of the furnace to be smelted. You put items in from the side, it's just going to well, that's its fuel source. It's coal, kelp, lava, whatever you decide to use. That's a very simple way of getting it in there. Now, what I've opted for this is a system where I'll put my items in here to be smelted, and they'll run along the hopper line here. Once this once this hopper has an item and is detected by this comparator, it's going to set off a signal which will unlock all of these hoppers, delivering one at a time. So as you can see, we're fairly even across all of it with our coal that we've put in previously, because it's the same setup. And yeah, it kind of just works reliably, making sure everything goes out evenly. If we can grab some stuff here, we'll show an all example. So if I get, where is anything? Okay, I swear I've played this game before, I found what I needed. But anyway, if we go ahead and put inside here, actually we'll put in the coal first, chuck that along, and then we'll just chuck the goodies in to be smelted. You'll see that as it goes along, once something is inside this hopper, the system lights up, releasing all of these hoppers here and allowing it to drop through one item. Now we can spin around here, you can see the same things working with our fuel. They're each getting evenly dispensed throughout the whole system, and then we've just got a hopper line following it through, and out they come. This is really a nice and simple furnace array to set up, and I believe what it's going to be easier for our hardcore world for this place is we're going to put it underground in that section where I showed where it was going to be built, and we're just going to have like a little shed front where the chests for the input, the output, and the fuel, so that way all of this messy redstone stuff can kind of just be hidden underground, and we can have as many of these as we wish. Now let's talk about one thing that absolutely drove me insane, because I was determined to work out how to do this functioning for myself without looking up a tutorial, and that is, well, what eventually is our design over there, but our mud making machine, because, well, I wanted to be able to place mud down, have it dispenser, let's actually put that in with a good example. No, that you knew that was going to happen. Okay, so if we put a piece of dirt here, you'll see that dispensers, triggers it twice and it shoots out another one. So I was trying to work out the best way to lock the system, which then, brought me onto the idea of actually having a little bit of a self-pulling, so it all goes through, but I was still getting that trapping of the double firing of the observer. Until I came over here, and I kind of thought, you know what, let's go about it at a different approach, alright? Let's set up a spot where we have a smart piston, which is a piston that basically, when a block gets put here, it's being powered, which is powering this repeater, powering this block, powering itself. So each time a block's there, it's going to push it through. So I thought that's easy enough, I'll get this set up, and it can push along all the way along here as it does until the conveyor belt, until it gets to this piston, and then it can shoot itself up. That'll be easy, right? Right? No. I fell into the same problem of the piston pushing up would also trigger this again. So I had to work out my locking mechanism, which I stumbled around for a little bit until I remembered how to kind of, you can lock a repeater if you have another repeater signal going into it. So I kind of made like a delay, so that way it'd get the short burst to push it up, but then it would be locked off for the signal to read the second one. So if a block goes here, you can see it only gets fired once because we get that little bar there which locks it off, meaning that it's not going to pick up that second signal and read it on through. So that was pretty cool. I was able to build it up, push it up to its max limit, which is all the way up here, and then just build the same circuit over here to push out all of these ones which are just simply wired in as a tower. Now it was up to making the mud part, and well, I've kind of found out very early on that I could stand here holding down my trigger, because I'm on Xbox, so just hold down the trigger, put a rubber band there, that's not an issue. So the double firing of this comparator was no longer a problem, because well, even if an extra bottle was spat out, I'd either be standing here close enough to pick it up, or it'd just shoot the next dirt block going along. And which, as you can see, it hasn't missed any as it's been going. So that was pretty cool. All it needed was an upside down observer that detects whenever a block's underneath it, giving off a signal, with a simple dispenser shooting off these water bottles and turning our dirt into mud. Let's fix up this daylight though. So once we had our dispenser firing off nicely and just build up a massive monstrosity of chests to keep this as a constant fill of water bottles, I came down and built an items filter so that it was sorted to pick up any empty glass bottles that may come into the system. So that way, the dispenser that's sitting on top of this will never hold a empty water bottle. It's always constantly going to be bringing them out, which is great because then we can recollect them and, I'll put a chest down there somewhere and we can refill them to be able to keep the system going. Now, I did say that this works for concrete, and I learned something in Bedrock whilst I was making this farm. Let me quickly just clear up my inventory a little bit and I'll show you. Okay, so I know that on Java, a waterlogged step in contact with concrete powder will turn it into concrete. That is not the case at all on Bedrock. It has to actually come in contact with the water. So that first off destroyed my nice neatness of thinking, you're the cause, get out of here. Of thinking I could just throw a stair in here and it'll be nice and easily just kept there, it's not going to overspill or anything. But no, so we've got to keep a block open here and like an item frame with a bucket, so that way we can just constantly re-put in our water. And then to disable this function, we break off that piece of redstone, and instead of putting in dirt, we now just go with concrete powder. As we push this through, just like with our mud, we are getting, it went up, that's why. We are getting a nice even row of concrete, and you can tell it's concrete because concrete powder, is affected by gravity. So this here is going to be the bigger build that we're going to get over on our world, and that's why I've left off that sort of longer stretch towards the end of the island there. And well, I've explained how these farms work. This one a little bit more, it's not more complex, it's just a more moving parts where it can go wrong. So it was really good for me to actually test this through instead of go, I could just build it on the world and get frustrated at point A like I was over there. But yeah, so now that we've seen these two builds, I'm going to pretty much dig a hole, build this up, build up the skeleton of this, and then bring you guys back in so we can actually do the decorative part and all the outline stuff around it. I might do a little bit of a montage clip of me building this up, or I might just try and get it built. Either way, let me get that done and we'll be right back over in the world. Alright, so we jump back in now. You can see that we have our super smelter built up really nice and cozily in this one little segment here. And as you can see, the redstone is all the exact same as our creative test world. And we go off into this little square where I've marked off for our, let me just jump up here, just a little square where I've marked off for us to be able to build up this little shed area for our furnace array. And as you can see here, we have our fuel input chest, which we can easily wire up to a chest just up here at ground level. We have our input chest for what we want smelted, which again, we can just wire up to a chest up the top level here. And just below down here, we have our, output, what we've been smelting. And as you can see, I've been trying to get a lot of charcoal ready to start filling up these furnaces. But I was thinking we could just run this line underneath here and then just sort of have a central chute where it just gets shot up to the player. That way that can easily restore their items, or we could just have it shot up a tube just up here somewhere and, stored away in chests as need be. Now, I did say before that I've got one of these in a segment because I believe we could probably expand and put another one of this whole system here and here. Going this way is a little bit more tricky because we're run into the ocean a little bit there, so I think we could possibly get another 3 more of these segments in here, and each one's 10 furnaces long, so for just my own personal use, this is going to be more than enough. Now, as you can see over here, I have cleared out these acacia trees that I had growing over here, and I have moved our cats just all over the place. So each one of them was in their little different breed categories, and I've spread them out all across the island, so that way we can actually make it feel a little bit more lively and a bit more personal with these cats roaming the area. But before it gets too dark and we lose all of our sunlight, I would like to go through this one here, which was our mud converting machine, or our concrete making machine. At the moment, I was testing it with deep slate that I forgot to fortune because I want the cobbled variety, and as you can see, I built it up looking pretty good, but when it got to our first push, not all of it was an even distribution. And I realized kind of after it that if you look above me there, you could see that we have our redstone tower, which was built fine, but I needed to make sure there was a comparator in between the tower and our pistons to ensure that the redstone signal went the full length, extending all of the piston. So, I'm just going to have to fix this up and just move everything over 1 block to the right. Yes, to the right of the screen. And then I can fit in a repeater and we'll get that all in. And as you can see, I've got the parts here. I'm just going to probably get it done, in the morning. However, though, speaking of in the morning, I think what we might do is I'm going to finish off, just get that part fixed, and then as per the contract that I've had to write up with our cameraman, geez, he's very needy and wants more airtime, but we're going to have to jump into a time lapse and build up both of these buildings, and let him do his cinematic magic. I don't know, I just think he just sort of stands there and watches me very creepily. But anyway, let's sleep away this night and jump into a time lapse. Well, I bet you're expecting to have seen the finishing build-up in the time-lapse of this building over here and how some of these trees got into place. Well, unfortunately, summer has really come to life here in Sydney, and due to that, the heat has actually messed that badly with my computer that it corrupted and deleted the files, and it also just completely stopped me from being able to do any recording for a few days while it hit 40 degrees, so I wasn't too happy. So instead I just sort of sat back and started building up all of our shells. So that was the first issue I wanted to address. The second one, which just while it's fresh, because you would have seen at the start of the time lapse, was us trying to build up the entrance little way for our super smelter, and trying to work on that redstone to send the items up to this chest. Look, that failed. I'm going to be honest with you. That it doesn't work. So there's going to be some off-camera time where I spend fixing up my mistake, maybe even looking up a tutorial of someone that knows what they're doing. But I just wanted to be clear with you that that isn't in place. We can see here that for the time being, I'm just using some scaffolding to get into the guts of it. And yeah, you can see I've just got the chest there, collecting up all our goodies. This will be our line that runs in. You may have seen that this whole area was actually underwater, so I had to clear out a lot of that, and I got attacked by a few drowns. But I'm really glad that we were able to actually build it up and have it sort of mimic the shape of our farmhouses and farmland that we've got up the top there. So it also brings that down here. Now, if we look around here, you can see that I have built up pretty well much two big squares side by side, have them connecting up in a little bit of like a stairwell in the back there, and it's really just a big box to cover up the redstone farm that we have behind it. I have made a big window on either side so that you can still look inside and see the functionality of the farm, but you know, this is all still shell work, and we need to actually fix this up, you know, make it all look nice again. But I did want to show you what we've got. So we need to extend our pathway just around here to what I thought was a really cool little stair wall design. I haven't done it anywhere else in the world, so why not try it out here first? But we've got like a little fire stair chute leading all the way up to the top of this floor here, which is the top of the big block that we're going to mine down, and then, you know, we can start again. So this was solving my problem of how do I actually get up to the top here to break all of these blocks. So this is going to be pretty much just a plain room, and as you can see, I'll make a little doorway so we can get out into the redstone if we need to. But yeah, I thought this is just a nice little cool build, and when we get a bit more of the vine action over here and some of the dark oak buttons, I think this is going to be a nice little plateau. Now the final little bit is if we continue on down this path, you can see that we've got ourselves a doorway which will lead into this area here, so we can go in and start manually feeding it, as well as there's a little doorway there, but I don't want to enter it from there. If we come around here, you can see that we've got another doorway which is going to be our storage. So this is where we're going to store all the blocks that we're collecting from here, be it what was it? Mud, thank you. If it was mud, any concrete, or, you know, any dirt or anything that we're sort of turning from grass back into dirt, you know, all that sort of stuff. We can make a nice big storeroom here, and, you know, just, yeah, keep everything nice and neat together and have it all in the one builds. So that's sort of showing off of what's been done, the time lapse. I do apologize that the heat ate our footage and we didn't get to see that. But I think what we'll want to do now is jump in a boat and show you what this area looks like from a bit of a distance now, because it's all really starting to take shape. So let me grab a boat. Alright, so we have a look here. You can see that we've got our nice fishing market set up over here, which is still being worked on. You can see the bridge has progressed since last time. But you can also see now that we started to get our lectern barrier going all the way around our edge. We've even got it up on the top row there now. We're including some more of these cherry wood trees all the way around with our bamboo, and it's really sort of giving it a bit more of that signature feel that is this area, which I would like to step on, because we did get originally a comment by Mr. Pro Ranger for a name for our island, which at the time really suited it. Like, it was very Spanishy sort of feeling. The name is just slipping me at the moment, but as 1.20 dropped and we got the cherry blossoms and I started adding them more in the area, the name, the Cherrywood Island, or Cherrywood Isle, is really what's sort of sitting with me at the moment. So let me know what you think about that name in the comments as you sort of look around here. But that's what I'm thinking we're going to name this place. And I have spoken to Mr. Proranger, and we will be naming something else after him or in his honour in the world a little later on. So as we look around here now, you can see that we're really starting to border off our area, and it is now just a matter of detailing this section here and connecting up to our iron farm, and our starter island is finished. Like, the end of the year is very, very close, and I am now going to try and finish off this area before the end of the world. Now, at the end of the year, that doesn't mean the iron farm, because the iron farm will have a bit of a story background that's been in the works, so that's not going to get done yet. But the rest of the island, we're going to try and get that finished. So with that said, there's a fair bit of work that I've got to get done here. So I think what we're going to do is, I've shown you around all of the buildings that's been added in. You guys have seen how this is all looking now. It's just this area here, this grassy plain here, as well as, you know, the hills leading up to our house. We can also get a better look at the lectern ringing around the sideline and making up our own little bit of just a port sort of thing there. Nothing really too fancy. And then we're done. We would be finished with our island. I mean, I've got to do some interior work, but that's always going to be ongoing. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave us with this sort of parting walk down here. And when I flip the camera back, we should be finished. So, fingers crossed, let's see if we can get this done. And now, hopefully, a year's worth of work is finished. I have completed the last section of our starter island. I've also gone around and done the interior work. So, you know, it really feels like we have completed this year-long journey in this hardcore world. I mean, yes, we haven't touched the iron farm. I did say I wasn't going to do that. It was for something that we're going to be doing in the new year. But let's stop talking now. Flip ourselves in the right camera angle. And as we make our way down, you can see the last stage of our area finally completed. We now have little frogs hopping around. You can see coming from our pond. We've gone up and decorated, added in a lot more of the greenery or pinkery for the cherrywood. But I think this has popped up really nicely. Let's see. Let's first off have a little look over here. You can see I've got some barrels and chests just laying around as a bit of decorative items. We've come here now with the higher ceiling for our super smelter area. I've had some hanging shelves, and by having each one of them at like an offset height, I think it just adds a little bit more to it and helps draws the eye in. And yeah, I think that this has really come up quite nicely compared to how it was just a plain shell before. So I'm happy with that. As you can see, we've got the completed stairwell, so this is as far as the boundaries of the Cherrywood Isles goes, and then we will connect up to our sort of just a midway point here, maybe a little bit of a tower before we go over to our iron farm, which, yes, I hope you are looking forward to 2024 when we get some more stuff built over there. We can also see that I've put up our little picnic tables again, and I've added in a little bit more, colouring around our pond by, well, as you could imagine, yes, I went and collected ourselves a lot of tropical fish to add into this little pond. Even got a little buried treasure chest down there, so yeah, I thought, this would be a nice little addition to this area, especially with the frogs. Like, I'm now seeing that they're starting to roam quite a bit around the whole island. They're not just contained to this one spot. And if you're wondering where we got these frogs from, we got them from our witch farm area over in the swamp. Now finally we have this building here, our mud converter, our, concrete powder converter, whatever we need to be pushed into a big cube, this thing is going, well, a rectangle, sorry. This is the redstone build to do it. And it was a little bit hard to make it look really cool on the outside because it is just a bit of a box. And it's still in the savanna biome, so the vines kind of look a bit gross. But hey, it's something. It helps tell the story. We've got a little bit of path work going on around here. And I did close this off. I know I said I might do a bridge going out, but I didn't think that that's going to happen now, and I wanted to completely finish off Cherrywood Isles. So, if we go down here, you can see that we've done the interior work for our storage for over here at the... I'm just going to call it the rectangle maker, because it has so many options that we can be using for it. But here is our storage area, nice and simple. Easily to expand. We've even got like a workstation and a worker's chair bench to, really sort of just tie in a bit more of, lore, or not lore, but just detail, make it feel like this is alive and lived in, because that's what I've really been enjoying doing with this world, is making it look like everything has a purpose. So once we go on out through here, you can see that we've entered into the big room area where I can come over and start piling up all of our stuff. We put in a floor up there to get to the redstone, and just left this as a bit more of an open floor plan space. So that way if anything goes wrong, we can fix up some stuff. If I need to add in anything over here, I can. It's just nice and easily all works together. Well, I really hope that you guys like this area and how it's come up. I do apologise that, the Aussie summer had ruined a bit of our time-lapse footage. But, I mean, I think we got through it. And honestly, this area, I am just over the moon with. I think it's really come together. It's helped drawn in nicely the final touches of this whole island. And it's just something that I'm incredibly proud of, and just thrilled that, we've made it this far. Yes, I've played it safe. I've just done a lot of building and nothing too dangerous. Like, we haven't taken on the dragon. Barely ever in the nether. It's a lot of safe stuff around our home area, but I think that what we've done now is built up an excellent point where we've got a home base camp that we can feel really safe in our world and start to explore out and get a few more risky things done in 2024. Now, I did say that I had gone around and finished the interior work that needed to be done on any of the builds, because, well, I wanted to finish off the island. I want to actually have it finished. So I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to wrap it up by Bluey and I are just going to go and do a last minute inspection on the towers, which were really the ones that didn't have anything done, and then we're going to have a look at the fish market and wrap up this episode, wrap up this year. And yeah, so Bluey, what do you reckon? Let's go for a bit of a walk. Now, I know you're probably loving to stretch your wings and get out of your Bluey's Park. It is a lovely spot, I've got to admit. I think it's really nice. Like, the whole idea and concept of just having that park there for Bluey, I thought it was a nice, nifty little idea, and it also gave us somewhere to put our beloved friend, who, yes, has been missing for a few episodes. I was just getting to that, Bluey, but it was merely because in the stress of trying to finish before the end of the year, I didn't want to have anything happen to him. So, well, we've kept him safe. But now, Bluey, let's head on around here. As you can see, we've got where our honey farm is. We've got Mr. Sniffer, who I don't think I've ever said anything, but Mr. Sniffer got himself a friend, Mrs. Chicken, and they've been living in this paddock, cage, pent-off area. Ooh, look at that loose there. For quite some time together, so I think we might need to, in the new year, go and find Mr. Sniffer another sniffer, just so we can start getting more of those seeds. Yeah, I'm looking after you. But now, let's have a quick check out of this first tower. Now, hopefully, yes, there we go. Okay, good. I wasn't lying, you see. We have basic interior. Yay! So we've got a bit of a sleeping quarters for anyone that might be out on patrol over here, who can then look out and, just see the area. Like, some of these views are just so cool from around the tower. Now, the plan was always so that way we could have, the the outposts, and they can signal from one another. And it worked out. Like if we set up a bit of a smoke signal up here, definitely you'll be seeing it from the next points. So let's go check out the next tower. Alright, our next tower, and I don't know why I'm saying it like that, there was only 3 towers that we had to inspect, is the one that we had out here behind our village setup, which you can see now has its complete rim of lectern walling. It's got all of the aged up copper. 2 days. Two days, guys, I spent AFKing around this world to make sure all my copper aged properly. Copper is not a fast thing to age, I can tell you that now. But as you can see, we can come around here and we've got another nice little interior work out here. So, we've got some storage on the bottom. We've come again to another little bit of a sleeping quarters before having an outlook that sort of, you can see out into the water section here. And, we've got perfect eyeing on what's coming into the small bay as well as what's out in the edge. And we can see our crane from here too, so that's not a bad view. I mean, yeah, Bluey, you are right. I kind of can't see the villagers who they're supposed to be guarding the best from this angle, but, where did you go, Bluey? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, you wanted to actually talk. But, I think it still came up nicely, so I'm going to give this one a tick. Now we've got one more. The tower right next to our fish market before we're all finished, so we better head off over there now. You can see this is going to be a long episode. Alright, Bluey, we're about to approach the last tower. Please don't find any zombies. Just be nice and chill, and let's just have a little look at this lovely, cozy little tower. Now this one, I didn't over detail or load it up with storage items because out of the 3 key towers, this one's the closest to the hub, like where my food is, where all my resources are. Anyone that was stationed at this tower won't necessarily be needing to have a whole heap of stock here, whereas you saw the one behind the villages, they had their own little farm because they were a little bit further out there. And the one with near our honey and all that sort of stuff, it had a bit more storage space because, they can get supplies, but it's not like it's the closest thing here. Where these guys, as you can see looking at our window here, bang. Walk down these stairs up there and you are in all of our storage for all our food, and our blocks are just down there. So I thought that whoever's stationed at this tower probably doesn't need that much storage, and probably can even be, someone that can go back and either sleep in the main hut itself over there, or can make their way to one of the beds just up there. So yeah, I mean, we got it all done. It's not anything, oh my god, this is amazing decorative work. But it's finished. Like, these were the last 3 empty buildings on the island, and now they're complete. And yeah, Bluey, it's just incredible to see how far it's all come up, and yeah, I'm really happy with this. So let's now jump over to the fish market, where you can kind of see now that we've got some detailing going on. So yeah, let's jump that up and wrap up this episode. Alright, so as we enter the fish markets, you can see that I've gone around, I've started to include just a few decorative bits on the outskirts of the corridors here, or the pathing. We've got some tables, some chests and barrels dotted around the place, as well as just a few anvils, some scaffolding holding up some lanterns, and some cauldrons. And this is just to add a bit of character, over the time while we're living here, and I'm sure that we'll add a bit more into this space and give it a bit more purpose in life, sort of thing, because I just did not have the blocks. I want to get a ship built up here that's sort of delivering things, getting picked off by the crane, and obviously a few more ships off into the distance, but they weren't part of the actual island itself, and I just didn't have enough time to get that done before, the end of the year. As you guys can see, I was kind of pushing it at the moment. Now, if we stand here in the middle, you can see that we've got sort of a bit of an opposite thing going here. So we've got storage chests and barrels just on the sides here, and we set up 2 small stalls which are actually acting as our storage for our fishing supplies and that sort of thing. Just down here, and it sort of adds a little bit more realism to it. Like, there's goodies that have been brought in off the docks, so surely there'll be somewhere to sell them, somewhere to store them. And, even we've got like I thought I'd just put a few boats up on different tables to look like, we've got either boat hiring or boat repairs, it all kind of goes within this this whole area. I think would work with the sort of nautical feeling, and I think it just adds that nice little touch. Now, we did go to have a bit of a contrast between the oxidized copper and just normal copper blocks by waxing it to make the edges for our little stalls, and I think that helps really make it just stand out and pop. Now we can go upstairs, which is really only able because of 1.20, where we can now actually crouch and walk under half slab blocks. Thanks, Bedrock, it's about time we got that. But we get up here to a bit more storage. We've got all the enchanted books, and I've even started using it, the chiseled bookshelves, so that way we can actually, put books in. I mean, they're only just some enchanted ones, but we can put books in and store them and that, and give it just a little bit more, feel to it. So I'm really starting to get the use of that, and, putting it around in the different places to have look like things are being read in here. We've got different storage options, so I think that might come across into a few of our other builds. We've got storage for, just a few other goodies, as well as our, overhead, what are they called? Shelves. Wow, that Bluey, don't look at me like that. I know I took a long time to get to that. Wow. Anyway, let's head on up to the next floor. So as you can see here, it's a nice big storage space. And then we go on up is where we start to be in the divided floor, which honestly, we just got a bit more storage here, a bit more maintenance to work, some lecterns so we can actually make notes of, different seasonal things with catching. Maybe have the dock log so we know who's actually come up here and who's given us goodies, who's, all that sort of logistical stuff that, to really think about when you're just trying to build something fantasy just for looks. But we got it. We've got it. Now, we've also got, we come on through here, this is where our, a little bit of a lift pulley system that was bringing up goodies from down below, bringing them up, and then we've got our storage system. And I thought having mine carts, with chests in them, just so that, we could be, things come up, oh yeah, we'll just put them in there, load it up, button on, send you away. Okay, well that wasn't a good example because it went too quickly. But you see, it's got the idea of things are being moved. These things might be too heavy just to carry by hand, so we've actually got to put them in the storage, move it along, and then we can just sort of place them in as need be. And honestly, I think that this is just, it was a small space. It was an idea out of nothing to put this window in up here, and I actually really like how we've developed it and how it's come up. So yeah, let's head on up to the final floor in this area. And then, well, that's it for the year. So we spin around here, you can see, oh yeah, here's my dirt AFK. Now, I spent 2 days in this box while all of that copper aged. It took quite some time. But as you can see here in our final room, the, I don't know, the master's bedroom or something. I mean, if you look at his bed, it's only something very small. Let's get the dirt out of here, you can actually see it better. But, yeah, so I think, I mean, it's a functional bed. This whole room is nice and cozy, and I think when we maybe think about getting the fish farm in, which is something I still want, but there's a nether trip involved, and I do want to take that risk. But I think from standing up here and going AFK, we will definitely be able to get a lot of fish going off from these farms. But, yeah, guys, I can't believe it. That's it done. The fish markets have been all cozily decorated, and it feels like it belongs here in the Cherrywood Isle. Wow, it's funny, almost a year ago now, we set up underneath that very same acacia tree, one of 2 trees to survive this whole revamp of this island as we've turned it from what it was into the Cherrywood Isles. And just sort of see this progression that we've achieved, This whole year has just been a great challenges and just different thought processes, approaches on building, and different techniques and stylings, getting used to that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's funny to think that, you know, this spot here was my little campsite, and then we managed to get ourselves up the top there to our starter house. Man, this is the first build in our whole area, and look at it now, surrounded by just absolute beautiful buildings. I think, you know, this whole area has just come to life. So yeah, I knew you'd fall off, Bluey, but look, this is where it had all started. It was just me and Bluey and this house, and we just had a dream to build up and survive as long as we can. And I'd just like to thank you all who have tuned in for this far into the video and for this long into the season. Like, I mean, I'm always getting great feedback on these episodes and that sort of stuff, and I appreciate. I do apologize when things slow down, because, you know, you got to work as well as making these videos. But hey, I've had a great time working on this world with you guys over the last year, and I am really looking forward to 2024, where we get some new builds going, we get some new bits of lore and that sort of stuff, getting into the world, that sort of thing, you know, just to keep it a bit more interesting and just get a bit more of, like, you know, a bit more meat to the sort of world that we're living in. If we're gonna try and see how long we can actually survive in a hardcore world, we got to make it sure that there's a lot of, you know, places to explore, things that we've done, buildings, and, you know, cities even. So I hope you guys are all looking forward to the new interesting things that are to come in the new year. I would like to thank you all so much for just tuning in and watching these episodes. Yeah, I'm really grateful for just all of that. And, well, as you can't tell, that's it. We've finished up Cherrywood Isles. The sun is setting, and yeah, I think it's time that we go and celebrate the new year and end it on this lovely backdrop. Now I'm going to now just cut out, and you guys will be able to see just a few little small, like, movie-ish snippets, because the cameraman's contract obligation still kicked in, so he's put together a little bit of a compilation video showing of how this world started to how it is now. Thank you everyone who has tuned in. If you're still here, maybe you've enjoyed it that much that you might consider liking and subscribing and that sort of stuff, but, you know, hey, it's up to you guys. I'm just glad that you've clicked on and enjoyed the world. Till next time,